Sneakerheads, it's Karen from Art by Karen E. Haley, and today I have a drawing of Totoro for you guys. Now this drawing I did last year, or the year before. I think it was last year for Mary Draws 95. She won one of my contest prizes, and this was the drawing that I did for her. Now, this drawing I really like, mainly because it's Totoro, and I'm a huge Totoro fan, and also I like it because of the background. I didn't use line art for the background, I just used it for the foreground branch that Totoro's kind of climbing on and the branches that the pears are attached to. So, I think that this picture has a really cool kind of look to it, and it's something that I want to try again in the future. And you know what I just realized, you guys? I just realized that the last picture I uploaded was of a character laying on a log when I did the picture of Erin and her Arcanine Stitches. He's laying on a big old log over a creek, and in this picture Totoro's climbing on a log, well, a tree branch, and it's just kind of similar, so I just thought that was really funny. But anyway, like I was saying, I didn't do line art for this picture. Now, I did actually do a pencil sketch, but I don't think that you can see it in the video because I did it so lightly that you can barely see it even in real life, like you could before I colored it anyway. And that's because if you color Copic markers over a pencil line, it can make the pencil line permanent and you can't erase it after you've colored over it. And I didn't want that to happen, especially in this picture because the colors I used were really light. So I sketched it so lightly that the line kind of is hidden by the marker. And it's really hard to do. And what I suggest is that if you can, try to get a light box because it can be really helpful, especially if you're coloring and you don't want to use line art with your Copic marker, but you want to have an idea of what you're drawing. Now, I don't have a light box, but if I did, it would make my life a lot easier because I really love the look of a line art-free background. So in this picture, you can kind of see that Totoro's trying to get after that pear, and I didn't really have a clear idea for this drawing because she just requested a picture of Totoro. So I just decided to draw him going after a pear because I just was wondering, you know, what he would be doing when he wasn't playing with Satsuki and Mei. And I figured he'd probably be eating or sleeping, and I didn't want to draw him sleeping because that's just boring. Oh, and here I am sketching in some pencil of the tree that I'm going to be using in the background. And what I do is I kind of erase things that are going to be too dark to see, or too dark for the Copics. So all I have is like a really faint line, and what I should have done is used a kneaded eraser, but I didn't. So anyway, I just wanted to draw Totoro eating a pear because I like pears, which is funny because in the next drawing you'll see a character picking pears. And I think that's because I really like pears, and I think they're a really fun shape to draw, so that's probably why they show up in my artwork a lot. And here you see me kind of blocking in a flat green color, and this picture is one of my favorites because of this part that I'm coloring in right now. Is this tree looks so vibrant because I use a lot of different colors. I didn't use just greens to shade this tree. I used greens, blue greens, a little bit of yellow, and I think I even shaded in with a little bit of pink or orange. I can't remember now because it's been so long since I colored this, but yeah, I really like the way that this tree turned out. I kind of wish that I had colored in the sky before I had started coloring the trees, because you'll see later I have a hard time getting around all of the leaves and things like that, but I really like this picture. I think it turned out really nice. I just keep saying that, but I do. It's a nice picture. It's not my best picture, but I really like it. My original plan was to put an outline, which is why you can see Totoro's tail comes really close to the edge, and then you can see that branch. In my initial plan, I planned to do an outline where his tail was coming over the edge and the tree branch was coming over the edge, but I felt like it would separate him from the pear tree because he has to be on the same plane, I guess, as the pear tree, and if I had put the outline over the pear tree and put it behind the branch he was on, it would make it look like the pear tree was way behind him, so I decided not to put a border in because of that. Because it would kind of blow the perspective, and the perspective's not that great anyway, so I decided not to put in a border. If you just give me a second, I gotta put my baby back down on the ground because he wants down off my lap. So, I don't know if you guys noticed, but Totoro's flat color is actually kind of streaky, and that happened because I was trying to blend out that warm gray with other colors. Normally it blends really nicely, like warm gray usually blends really nicely with other colors, but I think that my gray had been dry for too long or something by the time I had blended, because as I look at this now, I can see a lot of streaks. I mean, there's shading, like under his shoulder blade and stuff like that, but kind of near his side above his legs, it's kind of streaked, and that was because I blended over the warm gray with, I think it was like a blue-green, or maybe just the colorless blender, and it put streaks in him, in his fur, and I didn't really like it. I mean, I liked the texture, but at the same time I didn't like the texture, and so you'll see later I add in some shading, like some shadows from the leaves off of the tree, which at the time I really liked the way that that looked, but right as I look at it now, I kind of wish that I hadn't done that. So, I mean, that's just kind of how I tried to fix that problem, and I'm not sure how I feel about whether it was successful or not. Here I am just drawing some moss that's going to be on the tree branch, because I really like mossy trees, and it's a lot of fun to do. But I felt like the moss on the tree in the background was a little bit too defined, so you kind of saw me doing the tip-to-tip blending technique where you take a lighter colored marker and pick up ink off of a darker colored marker by touching the tips together. So you kind of see that I made it less bright by doing it that way. And I also kind of go over it with some grayish brown colors just to make it, to push it back further in the background, because the brighter colors kind of stick out. And sorry, sometimes I get this little notification saying that my antivirus has expired because I used to use Norton through Comcast, and I don't use Comcast anymore, but Norton still keeps popping up, and I can't get rid of the little notifications. Like, all it will let me choose is review my purchasing options or remind me later. So I don't know how to get rid of them, and I clicked on the help tab and it just sent me to the website, and it's like the antivirus has become a virus. It really irritates me. But Anyway, back to my drawing. So you kind of see that when I did the background tree branch, I did a gradient, which is really pretty cool. And I didn't really do any detail until it was dry. First I kind of blended all the colors together, and then I drew some texture in once the colors were dry. With, I think, E74, which is a great color for trees. And then once that was dry, I blended over it with, I believe that was BG11 or maybe B41. But anyway, those colors just turned out so nice. I love shading with blue instead of just a darker version of the color that I used. So I think it looks really nice. Here I am just adding some ripeness color to the pears. The pears, I almost said peaches, but they're not peaches, they're pears. I was just using some pink color, so yeah. And here is where I feel like I might have messed up the picture by adding in this other tree. I don't like this other tree. It's a birch tree, or based on a birch tree, and I just thought I would just add it in there, and I really kind of wish that I hadn't, because, well, I'm not very practiced at drawing birches, and also it just kind of took up the space in a weird way. It kind of divides up the picture weirdly. I don't know. I don't like it. It kind of bothers me. Also, it was really hard to color around it with the blue, and it just made it harder than it needed to be. In retrospect, if I was doing this picture again, I would keep the pear tree and the tree in the background, but I would do a cloudy sky instead of adding those birch trees in, because I mean, I like to have something in the background to look at, but the birch trees I don't think look very nice. Here I am just adding some texture into the sky. I like a sky with kind of some texture, because usually there is a bit of wispiness to the clouds in the sky. It's at least where I live, so I prefer textured sky over a sky with just a flat color. And here I am adding in those leaf shadings, and I don't know, I mean, I like the way it looks, but at the same time I don't. I kind of blended some green onto them to make them look more leafy. And here are the final touches with the gel pen. And I'm off screen signing my name. And there it is. Wow, in the scan, I forgot how poorly the scan did. I really should have edited this a little bit more before I put it on the video. But it's too late now. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. Here is a bonus video of Ronnie. He was about 9 months old. Bye-bye! Ronnie, are you playing with the door? Huh? Yeah. What are you doing? Arf, arf. You my puppy dog? Can you say bark, bark? Oh, now you're making birdie noises.